The book of Genesis is the first book of the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, and the Christian Old Testament. It's also considered the foundational text for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Genesis is a compilation of ancient narratives that explain the origins of the world, humanity, and the Israelite people. The book is divided into two main sections: Primeval History, chapters 1 to 11. This section contains stories that describe the creation of the world, the first humans, Adam and Eve, the fall of man, the story of Cain and Abel, the great flood and Noah's Ark, and the Tower of Babel. These stories are often understood as symbolic and allegorical, offering moral and theological teachings about human nature, sin, and divine punishment. Patriarchal History, chapters 12 to 50. This section focuses on the stories of Abraham and his descendants. It includes the stories of Abraham's call to leave his homeland and his covenant with God, the birth of his son Isaac, the rivalry between Isaac's twin sons Jacob and Esau, Jacob's journey to his uncle Laban's house, his marriages to Leah and Rachel, and the stories of his 12 sons who would become the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. The book of Genesis is often seen as a theological and historical foundation for understanding the rest of the Bible. It introduces key themes such as God's creation of the world, human disobedience and sin, divine promises and covenants. The book of Genesis is quite lengthy, so I'll provide a brief overview of the chapters from 1 to 50. Chapter 1 to 11. Primeval History Creation. God creates the heavens, earth, and all living things in 6 days. He rests on the seventh day. Creation of Adam and Eve. God creates the first humans, Adam and Eve, and places them in the Garden of Eden. The Fall. Adam and Eve disobey God by eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, resulting in their expulsion from the garden. Cain and Abel. Cain kills his brother Abel out of jealousy, and he becomes a wanderer. Genealogy. A genealogy from Adam to Noah is listed. Noah and the Ark. God chooses Noah to build an ark to save his family and pairs of animals from a worldwide flood. The Flood. Rain falls for 40 days and nights, flooding the earth. The ark carries Noah, his family, and the animals to safety. The flood subsides. The waters recede, and Noah offers sacrifices to God. Covenant with Noah. God establishes a covenant with Noah and promises to never flood the earth again. The rainbow symbolizes this covenant. Table of Nations. A list of the descendants of Noah's sons and the origins of different nations. Tower of Babel. Humanity attempts to build a tower to reach heaven, but God confuses their languages, scattering them across the earth. Chapter 12 to 50. Patriarchal History. 12. Call of Abram, Abraham. God calls Abram to leave his homeland and promises to make him a great nation. Abram and Lot. Abram and his nephew Lot part ways, and God reaffirms his promises to Abram. Abram rescues Lot. Abram rescues Lot and defeats several kings. God's covenant with Abram. God establishes a covenant with Abram, promising him numerous descendants. Birth of Ishmael. Abram's wife Sarai gives her maidservant Hagar to Abram, and Hagar bears Ishmael. Covenant of circumcision. God changes Abram's name to Abraham and institutes circumcision. Death and burial of Sarah. Abraham purchases a burial site for Sarah, finding a wife for Isaac. Abraham's servant finds Rebekah as a wife for Isaac. Death of Abraham. Abraham dies, and his sons Isaac and Ishmael bury him. Isaac and Abimelech. Isaac encounters Abimelech, similar to his father's encounter. Jacob's deception. Jacob deceives his father, Isaac, to receive his brother Esau's blessing. Jacob's dream. Jacob has a dream of a ladder to heaven and receives God's promises. Jacob's marriages. Jacob marries Leah and Rachel, daughters of Laban. Birth of Jacob's children. Leah, Rachel, and their maidservants bear Jacob's children. Jacob's departure. Jacob flees from Laban with his family and possessions. Jacob wrestles with God. Jacob wrestles with a divine being and is renamed Israel. Reconciliation with Esau. Jacob and Esau reconcile. Dinah's incident. Dinah, Jacob's daughter, is defiled by Shechem, leading to conflict. Return to Bethel. Jacob returns to Bethel, where God confirms his new name and covenant. Descendants of Esau. A genealogy of Esau's descendants is listed. Joseph's dreams. Joseph has dreams that foretell his future prominence. Judah and Tamar. Judah's daughter-in-law Tamar conceives twins after a complex incident. Joseph in Egypt. Joseph is sold into slavery in Egypt and rises to prominence in Potiphar's household. Joseph's interpretation of dreams. Joseph interprets dreams for Pharaoh's officials while in prison. Joseph's rise to power. Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dreams, predicting 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph's brothers in Egypt. Joseph's brothers come to Egypt seeking food during the famine. Benjamin's journey to Egypt. Jacob sends his sons back to Egypt with Benjamin. Joseph's silver cup. Joseph tests his brothers by hiding a silver cup in Benjamin's sack. Reconciliation and family reunion. Joseph reveals his identity to his brothers and reconciles with them. In conclusion, the book of Genesis serves as a profound introduction to the major themes that shape the beliefs and narratives of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Through its primeval history, it explores the origins of the universe, humanity's creation, fall, and early history. The patriarchal history delves into the lives of key figures like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, highlighting their relationships with God, their struggles, and the establishment of the Israelite lineage. These narratives set the stage for the larger story of God's covenant with His chosen people, the Israelites, and the unfolding of their history and faith. Genesis offers both religious and moral insights, addressing fundamental questions about human nature, divine providence, and the complexities of human relationships. As a foundational text, it continues to resonate across cultures and religions, influencing literature, art, and thought for millennia. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. Exodus. The book begins by recounting the growth of the Israelites in Egypt and the rise of a new pharaoh. Despite this oppression, the Israelites continue to multiply. Moses flees to Midian after killing an Egyptian and encounters God in the form of a burning bush, where he is called to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Chapter 1. The book of Exodus opens with a description of the rapid growth of the descendants of Jacob, Israel, who settled in Egypt. A new pharaoh arises who is threatened by the large population of Israelites, so he enslaves them and oppresses them with forced labor. Despite this oppression, the Israelites continue to multiply. Chapter 2. The focus shifts to the story of Moses, an Israelite baby who is hidden in a basket and placed in the Nile River to escape Pharaoh's decree to kill all male Israelite infants. Moses is discovered and adopted by Pharaoh's daughter. As he grows, he becomes aware of his Israelite heritage and kills an Egyptian who is mistreating an Israelite slave. Moses flees to Midian. Chapter 3. Moses encounters God in the form of a burning bush on Mount Horeb. God reveals his name as I am who I am, Yahweh, and calls Moses to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery. God also gives Moses miraculous signs to demonstrate his authority. Chapter 4. Moses expresses his reluctance to lead and presents his concerns to God. God provides further signs and assurances. Moses returns to Egypt and, with the help of his brother Aaron, delivers God's message to Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. God also instructs Moses to perform miraculous signs to demonstrate his power. Chapter 5. Moses and Aaron confront Pharaoh, requesting that he allows the Israelites to go into the wilderness to worship God. However, Pharaoh responds by increasing the Israelites' workload, making their lives even harder. Chapter 6. God reassures Moses of his plan to deliver the Israelites from Egypt and to establish a covenant with them. He reaffirms his Chapter 12. God institutes the Passover feast, instructing the Israelites to sacrifice a lamb and mark their doorposts with its blood. The angel of death passes over the marked houses, sparing the firstborn sons. Pharaoh finally relents and allows the Israelites to leave Egypt. The Israelites hurriedly prepare and depart, carrying unleavened bread as a reminder of their hasty departure. Chapter 13:15. The Israelites journey through the wilderness, guided by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. They are led to the edge of the Red Sea, where they seem trapped with Pharaoh's army in pursuit. God miraculously parts the Red Sea, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry land. Once they have safely crossed, God closes the waters, drowning the Egyptian army. The Israelites sang the song of Moses to praise God for their deliverance. Chapter 16. In the wilderness, the Israelites complain about their lack of food. God provides manna, a type of bread from heaven, and quail to sustain them. God institutes the Sabbath, a day of rest, and commands the Israelites to gather double portions of manna on the sixth day. Chapter 17. The Israelites continue to complain about water, so God instructs Moses to strike a rock, bringing forth water for them to drink. They also face their first battle against the Amalekites, with Joshua leading the fight while Moses holds up his staff. Chapter 18. Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, visits the Israelite camp. He advises Moses to appoint judges to help manage the people's disputes. Jethro also worships the God of Israel. Chapter 19. The Israelites reach Mount Sinai, where God reveals himself to Moses and proposes a covenant. If the Israelites obey God's commands, they will be his treasured possession and a kingdom of priests. Moses conveys this message to the people. Chapter 20. God delivers the Ten Commandments to Moses on Mount Sinai. These commandments encompass both religious and moral principles that form the basis of Israelite law and ethics. Chapter 25, Ayah 31. God provides detailed instructions for the construction of the tabernacle, which is a portable sanctuary for his presence among the Israelites. God specifies the design of the Ark of the Covenant, the table for the bread of the presence, the lampstand, and other sacred items. Additionally, God appoints Bezalel and Oholiab as skilled craftsmen for the project. Laws regarding the Sabbath, the year of Jubilee, and offerings are also given. Chapter 32. While Moses is on the mountain, the Israelites become impatient, and Aaron helps them construct a golden calf to worship. God's anger burns against them, and Moses pleads for their forgiveness. He descends the mountain, smashes the tablets of the Ten Commandments in anger, and destroys the golden calf. Chapter 33. God tells Moses to lead the people to the promised land, but he will not personally accompany them due to their stubbornness. Moses intercedes on behalf of the people, and God promises his presence will go with them. Chapter 34. Moses returns to the mountain, where God renews the covenant and inscribes the 10 Commandments on new tablets. God reveals his attributes of mercy, grace, and justice. Moses' face shines after encountering God, and he covers it with a veil when speaking to the people. Chapter 35 to 39. The Israelites contribute willingly and generously to the construction of the tabernacle. Skilled craftsmen create the various components according to God's instructions. The tabernacle, its furnishings, and the priestly garments are all completed with great attention to detail. Chapter 40. The tabernacle is set up on the first day of the first month, exactly a year after the Exodus from Egypt. God's glory fills the tabernacle, signifying his presence among his people. The cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night continue to guide the Israelites' journey. This marks the completion of the tabernacle construction and sets the stage for the Israelites' journey to the Promised Land. In summary, the book of Exodus chronicles the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, their encounter with God at Mount Sinai, the establishment of the covenant and the law, and the construction of the tabernacle as a central place of worship. The book highlights the themes of deliverance, obedience, God's presence, and the shaping of the Israelites as a chosen nation. Leviticus. The book of Leviticus is the third book of the Old Testament, Hebrew Bible, and is a significant part of both the Jewish and Christian scriptures. It is a central component of the Torah, which is the foundational law code for Judaism. Leviticus focuses on religious laws, rituals, and practices that guide the Israelites in their relationship with God and with each other. Here's an overview of the content and themes of the book of Leviticus. Chapters 1-7, Sacrifices and Offerings. These chapters detail various types of offerings and sacrifices that the Israelites are to present to God. These offerings include burnt offerings, grain offerings, peace offerings, sin offerings, and guilt offerings. Each type of offering has specific instructions, purposes, and regulations. Chapters 8-10, Priestly Ordination and Holiness. The consecration of Aaron and his sons as priests is described. This involves anointing them with oil and performing sacrifices. The deaths of Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, are recorded. They offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, resulting in their deaths as a sign of God's holiness and the importance of following his instructions. Chapters 11-15, Clean and Unclean. These chapters outline laws concerning clean and unclean animals, dietary regulations, and the distinction between what is permissible and what is not for the Israelites to eat. Regulations for purity and cleanliness are also detailed, including those related to skin diseases, bodily discharges, and the process of purification. Chapter 16. The Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. This chapter focuses on the ritual of the Day of Atonement, a sacred day of cleansing and forgiveness for the Israelites. The high priest enters the most holy place in the tabernacle to make atonement for the people's sins. Chapter 17:27. Various regulations. These chapters cover a wide range of topics. While some of the laws may seem ritualistic or specific to the cultural and historical context of the ancient Israelites, they also convey deeper theological themes about holiness, the need for reconciliation, and the importance of a righteous relationship with God and fellow humans. For Judaism, Leviticus remains a significant guide to religious practice and ethical living. In Christianity, while some of the ceremonial laws are understood to be fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ, the moral principles and themes of holiness still hold relevance for believers. Both Judaism and Christianity, the book of Leviticus holds important teachings and insights, though the interpretation and application of its content may vary between the two faiths. For Judaism, Leviticus is regarded as a crucial part of the Torah, and its laws and rituals play a central role in the practice of Judaism. The regulations for sacrifices, offerings, and rituals outlined in Leviticus provide a framework for communal worship and devotion. The concept of holiness is emphasized, and the detailed guidelines for purity and cleanliness reflect the call for a distinct and set-apart life. Ethical principles related to treatment of others, care for the marginalized, and social justice are woven into the book's instructions. For Christianity, the ceremonial laws described in Leviticus, such as the detailed regulations for sacrifices, are often seen by Christians as prefiguring the ultimate sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross. Jesus' sacrificial death is understood to fulfill and supersede the need for animal sacrifices. Christians interpret Leviticus in light of the New Testament teachings of Jesus and the apostles. For example, the moral teachings of Leviticus are often seen as still applicable, reflecting the enduring call to live holy and ethical lives. The concept of holiness, while informed by Leviticus, is further developed in the teachings of Jesus and the apostles, emphasizing inner transformation and the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. Some themes in Leviticus, like the call to care for the vulnerable, align with Jesus' teachings about compassion, mercy, and love for others. In both religions, the book of Leviticus underscores the importance of reverence for the divine, ethical conduct, and communal responsibility. While the interpretation and application of its laws may differ, the underlying principles continue to resonate with believers in Judaism and Christianity. The Book of Numbers. The Book of Numbers is the fourth book of the Old Testament in the Bible. It is a continuation of the narrative that began in the Book of Exodus and serves as a bridge between the Israelites' liberation from Egypt and their preparation to enter the Promised Land. Here is an overview of the content and themes found in the Book of Numbers. Chapters 1:10, Preparation and Organization. God commands Moses to take a census of the Israelites, tribe by tribe, to determine the number of men eligible for military service. The Levites are set apart for service in the tabernacle, and their specific responsibilities are detailed. The arrangement of the tribes around the tabernacle is established for their encampment during their journeys. Instructions for the use of 2 silver trumpets are given, which are used to signal gatherings, journeys, and battles. Chapters 11-14, Challenges and Rebellion. The Israelites begin to complain about their hardships in the wilderness, particularly regarding their diet. God provides quail and manna, but some are struck with a plague as a consequence. Moses becomes overwhelmed with the responsibility of leadership, and God appoints 70 elders to assist him. Miriam and Aaron question Moses' authority, and Miriam is struck with leprosy for her rebellion. Moses intercedes on her behalf. 12 spies, one from each tribe, are sent to scout the Promised Land. While Joshua and Caleb express confidence in God's promise, the other spies spread fear among the people. The people's lack of faith results in God's decision that the generation that left Egypt will not enter the Promised Land, but will die in the wilderness over the course of 40 years. Chapters 15-20, Laws, Rebellion, and Continued Journeys laws regarding various offerings, tassels, and unintentional sins are provided. The story of the rebellion of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram against Moses and Aaron is recounted. The earth swallowed Moses constructs a bronze serpent as a symbol of healing. The Israelites conquer the lands of Sihon and Og, kings of the Amorites, and settle in their cities. Balak, the king of Moab, hires the prophet Balaam to curse the Israelites. However, Balaam ends up blessing them instead. The Israelites engage in idolatry and sexual immorality with the Moabite women, leading to God's wrath and the actions of Phinehas to stop the plague. Chapters 26-30, New Generation and Laws. A second census is taken, detailing the number of men who are eligible for military service among the new generation. Regulations about land inheritance, particularly involving daughters inheriting property, are established. Moses appoints Joshua as his successor. Chapters 31-36, Battles, Cities, and Legal Matters. The Israelites engage in battle against the Midianites and take vengeance for the incident involving Baal worship. The captured spoils are distributed among the people and the priests, and laws regarding purification after warfare are given. Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh request land on the east side of the Jordan River, and Moses grants their request with certain conditions. The book concludes with regulations concerning the establishment of cities of refuge for those who unintentionally cause the death of another person, inheritance laws, and the legal rights of women. In summary, the book of Numbers continues the narrative of the Israelites' journey through the wilderness. The Book of Deuteronomy. The Book of Deuteronomy, often referred to as the fifth book of Moses, is the fifth book of the Old Testament in the Bible. It serves as a farewell address from Moses to the Israelites, providing a recapitulation of the laws and events that have taken place up to that point. The book's name is derived from the Greek word Deuteronomion, meaning second law, as it contains a restatement and elaboration of many laws previously given. Here's an overview of the content and themes of the Book of Deuteronomy. Chapters 1-4, Reflections and Recollections. Moses recounts the journey of the Israelites from Sinai to the edge of the Promised Land, including their previous failures and rebellions. He reminds the people of the appointment of leaders and judges and the choice to send spies into the land. Chapters 5-11, The Covenant Renewed. Moses restates the Ten Commandments, which were initially given in the book of Exodus. He emphasizes the importance of wholehearted devotion to God, the prohibition of idolatry, and the significance of obeying God's commands. Chapters 12-26, Laws and Regulations. Moses provides an extensive collection of laws covering various aspects of life, including worship practices, dietary laws, treatment of slaves, festivals, and social justice. The centralization of worship in the chosen place, the future site of the temple, is stressed, and guidelines for dealing with false prophets and idolatrous practices are given. The concept of tithing and caring for the Levites, foreigners, orphans, and widows is emphasized. Chapters 27-28, Blessings and Curses. Moses presents a ceremony for the Israelites to pronounce blessings on Mount Gerizim and curses on Mount Ebal. These blessings and curses are linked to the obedience or disobedience of God's commands. Chapters 29-30. Covenant renewal and call to obedience. Moses calls the people to renew their covenant with God. The book of Deuteronomy concludes with an account of Moses' death. In Deuteronomy 34, Moses ascends Mount Nebo, from where he is able to see the promised land that the Israelites are about to enter. However, God tells Moses that he will not enter the land himself because of an incident earlier in their journey when he struck the rock to bring forth water instead of speaking to it as God had instructed. This moment highlights the importance of obedience and trust in God's guidance. Moses accepts God's decision with humility. After viewing the land from a distance, Moses dies at the age of 120. His death is recorded in poignant terms, and the people mourn his passing for 30 days. The text also notes that there has never been a prophet like Moses in Israel, with whom God spoke face to face. This recognition underscores Moses' unique role as a mediator between God and the people, through whom the law was delivered and the covenant established. The book acknowledges that no other prophet has arisen who could match the depth of Moses' prophetic relationship with God. The book emphasizes covenant and obedience. Throughout the book of Deuteronomy, the concept of covenant is central. Remembrance and teaching. The importance of remembering God's faithfulness and teachings is a recurring theme. Worship and holiness. Deuteronomy places strong emphasis on the proper worship of God. It outlines regulations for centralizing worship, avoiding idolatry, and conducting sacrifices and festivals, blessings and curses, and more importantly, leadership transition. Closing thoughts and significance. The conclusion of the book of Deuteronomy represents a profound transition for the Israelites. They stand on the cusp of entering the promised land without their great leader, Moses. The book's emphasis on faithfulness, obedience, remembrance, and covenant underscores the timeless importance of these principles in the lives of believers. Deuteronomy not only serves as a second Thank you so much for tuning in to our journey through the first 5 books of Moses, exploring the rich narratives, teachings, and wisdom found in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy has been an enlightening experience. From the creation of the world to the covenant with Abraham, the liberation from Egypt, the laws and regulations, and the farewell address of Moses, these books hold timeless lessons and insights that continue to resonate with us today. Your engagement and support mean the world to us. We hope that this exploration has deepened your understanding of these foundational texts and their significance in shaping our understanding of faith, history, and morality. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful discussions and explorations of sacred texts. Your continued support motivates us to delve deeper into the stories that have shaped humanity's spiritual journey. Thank you again for being a part of our community, and we look forward to continuing this journey, self-discovery, and spiritual enlightenment on our YouTube channel. A Story of Videos. God bless you.